Hello, today we have another episode of Meditation for Peace. Today I'm going to talk about count your blessings. All of us are born with both fortunate and unfortunate circumstances, most of us. We are born with both fortune and unfortune. There is hardly any one of us that only experiences fortune in life. Most of us experience both fortune and unfortune, both happiness and suffering. However, the way we react to problems in life is different. There's hardly anyone in the world that doesn't have any problems. But the way we react to problems is different. The way we react to problems is a matter of the way we think. If you try to try to analyze the importance of our thoughts on our actions and our attitudes in life, you can make a comparison, you can do a small test by putting a piece of wood on the floor. If you have a piece of wood large enough to walk over it, like a small bridge, and you put it on the floor, and then someone asks you to walk over it, you will feel that it's a very normal thing to do, and you don't feel it's hard at all. But if the same piece of wood has been put on top of a large, very high cliff, which is very high above the ground, if you fall from the cliff, you certainly will not survive. Then you will think twice. You will think very long time before you will cross this bridge. So the same piece of wood, the same bridge, but a different height can make you think twice, can make you change your attitude. So very often in life, it is the things around us. It's not so much the things around us that determine our attitude. Because actually the bridge is still the same, right? But it's the context and it's our own attitude that changes things. The way we think about things, the way we reflect on things has a great impact on our lives. And when we have the habit of looking at things from a positive perspective, looking at things positively, we might have strong encouragement, strong courage to deal with our problems in life. One way to deal with our problems in life is what we call to count your blessings. You've often heard of this, but we often do not really realize what it really means. To count your blessings, or to look at what you really have in life, to look at all those things that you have earned in life, that you have obtained in life, and how difficult it was to obtain all these things. That is something very important, and it can affect our lives very much. That is one way that we can cope with problems, difficulties in life, and find a way through. Have the encouragement, the courage to solve our problems and to cope with our problems. A great example of someone who is a great example of inspiration and courage in life is Anne Frank, a young Dutch woman who was being of Jewish descent, was captured by the Germans, and unfortunately she was killed when she was only quite young. Actually, she wasn't really killed, but she was put into a concentration camp of the Germans during the Second World War, and she died of disease. But during the years before she was captured, she managed to find her family. She was part of a Jewish family. Went in hiding in a house, at the back of a house, at the back room of a house which was hidden from sight. There were two families there living together. It was quite difficult. You can imagine living there in a place which is completely isolated from the world. Hiding from the Germans, afraid that they might catch you and deport you to a concentration camp. Very difficult life. But Anna Frank was not a normal girl. Actually, she was only about 14, 15 years old when she went to this house, to this place. And normally, for someone of her age, you'd like to go around, you'd like to meet friends, you'd like to go out. But this girl had to spend all of her time in the house. It was very difficult. But nevertheless, it turned out in that period that she was hidden from sight, hidden in that place during 2 years before she was finally discovered by the Germans. She kept a diary, and this diary became famous as a bestseller, which was well known as the Diary of Anna Frank. And this diary became one of the greatest bestsellers of the world, in fact. Over 13 million copies were sold of it over the entire world, translated in many languages. This book was a book that captured the attention of many people because it showed a young girl in the most difficult circumstances where her own life was at stake every day. There was very little reason to laugh, to smile, but many reasons to cry. Nevertheless, in this book, she wrote a statement that despite everything that happened, I believe that people are really good at heart. That's what she wrote. And she wrote also, when there's hope, there's life. Her entire diary is an example of someone who in the most difficult circumstances, most trying circumstances, always managed to keep up a positive attitude, to look at the world from a positive perspective. Her book became not only an example of encouragement, but also of wisdom. Many people, including well-known politicians like Nelson Mandela, praised this book and said it was very wise, very inspiring. Nelson Mandela himself was actually put into prison for a long time, in some ways in similar conditions, but not the same exactly. He found a lot of encouragement in this book, showing someone in very difficult circumstances that he could identify with, but nevertheless always looking at the bright side of the world. And it made him be able to cope and to persist in these difficult times. And finally, when he got out of prison, he managed to develop South Africa and to bring it to a critical situation that was at least a freedom from the apartheid, from the segregation of the races, which he tried to change. So Anna Frank was a great inspiration for many people, a great encouragement. So this shows an example of someone who managed to do the impossible in very difficult, trying circumstances, to keep up a good mood and to try to look at things from the positive side. So what was it that made Anna Frank stand out from the others? what made Anna Frank different in that she could look at things with wisdom, could consider things with wisdom, and maintain her hope in these difficult circumstances. The way we think when we are faced with suffering, this is sometimes also called in Buddhism, we use the word khanti. Khanti means patience or endurance. And it's not only a sort of patience of endurance of grinding your teeth together and just be patient, but it's also a way of thinking. Very similar to what in modern days in many psychological approaches is called positive thinking. It doesn't mean that we lose our touch with reality, but it means to always focus on the positive things which are there. One professor, who was a well-known professor of psychology, especially positive psychology, wrote about what was to be known as the science of gratitude. His name is Emmons. Emmons, he did research about how people respond to life when they are in the habit of looking at things with gratitude. So he had two groups do an experiment. One group, he had them write diaries. And in those diaries, he had them write down their experiences, the things they noticed, what other people had done to them, what benefit they had received from others. In other words, he had them write down and practice gratitude. Sometimes we can say there are some parts of gratitude that do not really have to do with people around us. It could be the things around us, the benefits that we have received in general, the fortunate circumstances that we are in. This is also a form of gratitude. In Buddhism, we might call this being aware of the merits that you have received, which comes from the good deeds that we have done in the past. Another part of this gratitude is, of course, the people around us, what other people have done, the benefits that other people have done to us, the favors that people have done. To be aware of that. It turned out that the group that wrote these diaries was, of course, then compared with a control group. And this control group didn't write anything. They just continued their normal life. It turned out that the group who wrote the gratitude diaries actually had more encouragement, more inspiration, more courage in life. If they set certain goals in life, of things they wanted to attain in life, they had more encouragement to accomplish these goals, more than the group that didn't write anything. Emmons even went so far as to compare this group who wrote the gratitude diaries with another group that just compared themselves with others in a downward way. That means what you might call downward comparison. So, for example, I'm rich, but you are poor. I'm smart, but you are not smart. And there would be one group of people writing these kind of things, which is not really gratitude. It's just comparing yourself with others. And this group, some people might say, this group is also looking at the world from a positive perspective, trying to, boost their ego or something like that. But actually, this group didn't encounter the same benefits. This group actually wasn't experiencing all the benefits that the group who wrote the diaries of gratitude experienced. So the people who wrote about their experiences of gratitude, oh, this person has given me a lot, that person has helped me a lot, I have received many benefits in my life. they had a lot more, they gained a lot more from that experience of writing a diary than the group that just write a diary to boost their ego. In other words, just the habit of being aware of what people do to us in terms of the benefits that we have received, the small favors that people have done to us. All of these things, to just be aware of that, already has a great impact on our lives. So that the people in the past said, count your blessings, was actually a very good advice.